Don't play that song for me. It brings back memories of days that I once knew. Oh, the days that I spent with you. Oh no, don't let it play. It fills my heart with pain. Please stop it right away. I remember just the word it said. It said, darling, I love you. You know that you lie. Darling, I love you. You know that you lie. Darling, I love you. You know that you lie. You lie, you lie, 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 lie. Remember on our first date, you kissed me and you walked away. You were only 17. I never thought you could act so mean, but baby, you told me.
Tonight, a testing delay. Sources confirming samples from 2 sick British Airways passengers have not yet made it to the Atlanta-based CDC. Meantime, a woman found hanging in the rafters of a Western New Providence home overnight. Find out the scope of the investigation. And later, the family of the country's latest murder victim recounts narrowly escaping death. This is Eyewitness News, and it starts right now. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Devontae Hanna. Thanks for welcoming us into your home. We begin tonight with a story first broken here, an independent source confirming to Eyewitness News that as of 3:55 this afternoon, samples connected to 2 passengers currently under medical observation in the Bahamas has not yet been sent to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta for testing. Efforts by Eyewitness News to obtain confirmation from the Ministry of Health and Wellness were unsuccessful up to news time. The 2 passengers were previously described by health officials as clinically stable. The situation began unfolding a week ago after a British Airways flight from London Heathrow arrived in Nassau with the 2 men on board. Eyewitness News understands the passengers remain under observation and are being housed in a modular unit at Princess Margaret Hospital while health officials continue monitoring and investigative efforts. That is, the Ministry of Health and Wellness has not yet publicly indicated when testing samples will be submitted or provided further details on the nature of the investigation. This is a story we will continue to follow. Meantime, a war of words between the Office of the Prime Minister and a talk show host is now heading to the country's broadcast regulator. The Office of the Prime Minister calling comments made by Darren Cooper defamatory and factually unsubstantiated. The Office of the Prime Minister is asking IRCA to investigate comments made during Friday morning's edition of the radio program It Is What It Is on 102.7 FM The Rhythm. In a formal complaint signed by Director of Communications Latrey Ramming, OPM alleges the host, Darren Cooper, and guest Sylvans Matea made a series of serious accusations against Prime Minister Philip Davis, a cabinet minister, and the government of the Bahamas without evidence or verification. The complaint claims the broadcast presented as fact allegations that the Prime Minister was a business partner of an individual alleged to be involved in narcotics trafficking, that a cabinet minister had an improper personal relationship connected to that individual, and that the government was assisting illegal narcotics activity. Now, the Office of the Prime Minister describing those claims as false, defamatory, and damaging to public confidence in national institutions. Cooper, on the other hand, believes the complaint could be an attempt to muzzle him.
We have the jurisdiction and the leeway to ask what we believe is important questions to get important answers. I think it's more important that the government, rather than doing scare tactics or bullying Bahamians in being able to voice their concerns, which I believe we should be responsible also in what is put out there. But however, the government has a responsibility to address the concerns and mitigate the concerns of Bahamians.
The complaint argues the broadcast breached several provisions of the Communications Act, including requirements for accuracy, fairness, the right of reply, and the responsibility of license holders to ensure content meets regulatory standards. It also states that this is not an isolated incident, claiming the program has previously been the subject of concerns regarding unverified and inflammatory content. Cooper asserting he did not have any guests, but just an open line which he says he has limited control over.
And so as a Bahamian, born Bahamian, I will continue to lend my voice to concerns in which concerns me and concerns my community and want what is best for the country through making sure that our government continues to work on behalf of the Bahamian people.
The complaint has also been copied to the Office of the Attorney General, with OPM reserving its right to pursue further legal action. For his part, Cooper is pushing back against those allegations.
The phone line, which is always open to callers who have the willpower to call in and to voice their concerns. Some call for the support of the Progressive Party, the governing party. Some call for the support of the Free National Movement, and some just call to be concerned Bahamians.
Well, IRCA has not yet publicly indicated whether it will open a formal investigation into the matter, and no finding of wrongdoing has been made. In other news tonight, the partially decomposed body of a 39-year-old woman was found on Thursday night on Eastern Avenue in an apartment off West Bay Street, prompting a suspected suicide investigation. According to preliminary reports, shortly after 9, a landlord contacted authorities after becoming concerned about the welfare of her tenant after not seeing her since Monday morning. The woman's body was unfortunately found hanging from the rafters inside the apartment with a black and white cloth tied around her neck. Investigators say the woman had been reportedly struggling with depression following the recent deaths of both her parents and had sought therapy.
If you haven't heard from a loved one in a while, reach out to them. If you see anybody you know may be suffering from mental illnesses or just change in pattern of a tendency of beginning to sell the items, the belongings, that's also a sign that they may be going through something mental. So I just want to give the Bahamas Crisis Center number. The number is 322-2763. 222-2763. That's a 24/7 number. You can contact them at any time.
Breaking news there about tonight, a call for greater awareness surrounding depression and suicide prevention coming from cognitive behavioral therapist Harrison Thompson. He believes too many Bahamians are overlooking the growing mental health crisis and the impact it can have on individuals, families, and communities. He's urging more to access for resources and continued support services for those struggling with mental health challenges.
There are some resources, but a lot of the resources we do have, unfortunately, are strained. And in the private sector, a lot of those resources can sometimes be expensive. And so what happens to those individuals who may not have the money, who may not have the resources, or unfortunately, who may not have the connections to get the kind of help that they need? Unfortunately, those are going to be left to fend for themselves. And we exist in a culture that looks at mental and emotional wellness as a reactive thing, meaning we wait until something goes wrong and then we use that outrage to put in measures that are temporary in nature, but we do it almost as a Band-Aid treatment, and it treats the solution but not necessarily the core of the problem.
Well, Thompson also revealing that many people begin therapy but fail to follow through with the process, often finding themselves falling back into depressive and suicidal thoughts without continued support and treatment.
You have to push through therapy even when you start to feel better, because feelings does not fully quantify a person's internal state. You can feel happy while still being traumatized. You can feel good while doing a lot of dysfunctional things. Sometimes you need a trained professional to help you through what is a seemingly good day, because what it is you might miss, a professional will be able to catch. And so I know sometimes it can be difficult to follow through with therapy, especially when resources are tight, but trust the process, not the feeling.
Well, in other news tonight, a young woman who narrowly escaped death is recounting the terrifying moments that led to the fatal shooting of her boyfriend. This as his family battled roadblocks attempting to view the young man's body. Linton Ritchie Jr. reports.
A broad daylight fatal shooting which claimed the life of 23-year-old Algeron Stubbs, nearly snatching the life of his girlfriend, who revealed Stubbs did everything to evade his killers, but a, quote, stalled vehicle held up the escape. It was then gunmen smashed the hearts of the young man's family. Hours after being released from the hospital, speaking on the condition of anonymity, Stubbs' girlfriend revealed they were preparing to arrive at their residence after attending a case management hearing at the Supreme Court when tragedy struck.
I put my head down and put my hand over my head. Ain't nothing else I could do, and I just was praying. And by the time I get up and I look at him, I say, "Baby, you okay?" That was it.
Their bullet-riddled vehicle crashing into a single-story structure. The adult female landing in hospital while Stubbs died on the scene. But the frustrations of the grief-stricken family did not end there. Friday morning, loved ones visited the Princess Margaret Hospital morgue, hoping to do the unthinkable, identify Stubbs' body. However, his sister, Shandia Russell, says they were met with a roadblock.
All we want to do is identify Ron's body. That's all we came here to do. They require a birth certificate along with the NIB. We have the NIB, we just didn't have the birth certificate. And they said, okay, the passport. The court have the passport because he just came from court yesterday when they follow him and shoot him up.
The family claiming that they have been unable to receive Stubbs' passport due to his bail conditions after he was accused of multiple serious crimes. Russell alleges the mistreatment continued as the family was forced off the property.
And instead of the lady behind there assist us, she left us hanging and called the security. He came there and he told us to get out. He's going to call the police. He ended up calling the coroner. The coroner came and said they cancel this viewing today. We have to come back on Monday.
His mother, who is no stranger to the facility, near tears, emphasizing that from her view, the treatment handed down to a family who's grieving, she says, is unfair.
I've worked here for a number of years and I was treated terrible. All I wanted to do was do identification. I feel too good, man. It's just there because then I have to go do a lot of things and it happens so suddenly.
Now with Stubbs' body sitting in the morgue over the weekend, his loved ones say that was a scenario they were hoping to avoid due to the continuous reports of overcrowding at the facility. Linton Ritchie Jr., Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Linton. Well, this just in, police concluding an investigation into a shooting that unfolded on Blue Hill Road this afternoon involving two individuals. According to police, both men have been transported to hospital for further medical attention. Their conditions at this time is unknown. It's a story we are continuing to follow. Meantime, still on the crime beat, the courts could take swift action against a violent criminal who was caught on the run while reoffending just a day ago. Our Jose Etienne is live with the latest. Jose, what changes now?
Well, Devontae, D'Angelo Culmer is only deepening the legal challenges already stacked against him after he was recently arrested while reoffending. Culmer, who was a fugitive murder suspect for nearly 8 months, was caught on Thursday while riding along Tonic Williams-Darling Highway and Premier's Avenue with a 44-year-old man who will most likely be charged with harboring a criminal. Both men were caught with suspected marijuana after they were intercepted by SWAT police officers. And so with Culmer now back in custody, it is expected that he will be charged and found guilty of escaping custody while at the South Street Magistrates Court, and it is expected that he will be charged with unlawful possession of dangerous drugs. He will also most likely be sentenced for escaping custody. And let's not forget that he's still facing murder and attempted murder charges stemming from that shooting incident on January 31st, 2024 that left a woman dead and another woman and man injured. As for the 44-year-old man, he will also be charged with harboring a fugitive, and it's an offense authorities don't take lightly because as far as they're concerned, it impedes officers getting a hold of dangerous criminals who are on the run. We've seen this before in the case of Gamaliel Gray, a murder suspect who was fatally shot this year. Gray's alleged girlfriend was charged with knowingly giving refuge to the accused killer at her Nassau Village home days after he shot and killed a man in the South Beach area. And days later, the 16-year-old daughter of Gray's alleged girlfriend was killed while gunmen reportedly made an attempt on his life. And so, Devontae, those outcomes remain firmly on the table as prosecutors continue building evidence against Culmer and his accomplice. For now, I'm Jose Etienne. Back to you.
Thanks, Jose. Well, when arrests are made, not much attention is often paid to the aftermath for the lives of those who are found innocent or charges are dropped. They often struggle to recover, and tonight, FOAM founder Candy Gibson is renewing her call for intervention at the highest level. Janelle Longley reports.
A person was arrested and they have not been charged. Something should go in the system if it can't be wiped out. Something should go in the system maybe 2 years later or maybe 3 years later. So-and-so would have been arrested. They were never charged. They are considered deemed good in our books, good law-abiding citizen.
It's an issue founder of Families of All Murdered Victims, Candy Gibson, has been lamenting for some time, as far back on record as 2024. And in the last Davis administration, she met with the Minister of National Security, Wayne Monroe, who had promised to address it.
I think they were aware that it's some former police officers were doing it. And I was told that a letter was supposed to be sent on. Okay, I haven't seen the letter. And do bear in mind, I work in the community, so the people who are hurt and downtrodden, they don't get to see them. They come to form.
But that promise has still not yet materialized, and now she's hoping that the Prime Minister and the new national security head would intervene.
If I can't get a gainful employment, I on social service line. I on to urban renewal. I could even commit suicide.
All realities she's witnessed firsthand, and she says for some of these individuals, the cases happened more than a decade ago.
That ain't the same person anymore. And on it too, not even if you were arrested, you might have been totally innocent.
Drawing reference from the Davis administration's campaign slogan, Choose Progress, she challenged the higher-ups to make real change on the issue.
We can't say on one hand rehabilitating, and then the next time we put our foot on their neck.
Janelle Longley, Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Chanel. Well, our daily poll today around the same topic: do wrongfully arrested individuals deserve compensation? Well, 93% of you voted yes, they deserve financial compensation and assistance. 4% voted yes, but in certain cases, just 2% voted no, mistakes can happen in investigations, and 1% voted not sure. Well, continue to follow our daily polls as we look to hear from you. On to other news tonight. Amid growing calls for his resignation, Minister of Finance Michael Halkitis seemingly responding indirectly to the controversy surrounding his past role with Top Notch Construction. In a post on his Member of Parliament Facebook page, Halkitis quoted Psalms 109, writing, quote, "Not every attack deserves a response. Some battles belong to God alone." The Free National Movement and Coalition of Independents have called for his resignation after it was revealed that he served as director and chief financial analyst for the company, allegedly linked to contractor Jonathan Eric Gardner, who is in U.S. federal custody on drug trafficking charges. Halkitis has denied speculation linking him to the federal case and said he worked for the company between 2019 and 2020 after being approached by its attorney. It all comes as former Turks and Caicos Premier Michael Missick has been sentenced to prison in one of the Caribbean's most highly profiled corruption cases. A Supreme Court judge Friday sentencing Missick to an effective 4 years and 26 days behind bars, and after he was found guilty of bribery offenses linked to government land and development deals. The court rejecting arguments for a suspended sentence, ruling that the offenses represented a serious abuse of public office and a breach of public trust. Missick was at the center of a corruption scandal that rocked the British Overseas Territory and contributed to the partial suspension of self-government in 2009. Well, in other news tonight, while opposition leader Michael Pintard accused the Davis administration of the underhanded issuance of no-bid contracts, members of the public have also questioned the procedure that leads to distribution. Well, Finance Minister Michael Halkitis defended no-bid contracts, arguing that there are varying reasons why they might be awarded, adding they are supported by law.
As to the issue of the no-bid contract, if you look at Section 31 of the Public Procurement Act, it's about 4 pages long, that section. Section 31 deals with direct award contracts. And so the first thing I want to say is no-bid contracts are allowable under the legislation. And in fact, there's so many instances where no-bid contracts are allowed that it takes up 4 pages of the Act. And it can deal with emergency, it can deal with circumstances on the island, it can deal with how fast you need something done, it can deal with giving opportunities to smaller contractors, etc.
On Election Day, Long Island Member of Parliament Dr. Andre Rollins got into a verbal altercation with the owner of Rowdy Boys Construction. The Long Island-based company awarded the $20 million no-bid contract to complete roadworks and waterworks on the island. While Rollins and some residents complained there has been slow progress since the beginning of the work last July, Halkitis says there are guidelines in place for such companies to follow, and it's also up to ministries to ensure proper execution of contracts.
The complaint was that 25% of government contracts were no bid. Well, if 25% were no bid, that means 75% were bid. So as long, I now come to the question, as long back to value for money, there are procedures in place to ensure that when someone, for example, is contracted to paint this room, the Ministry of Works knows what it costs to paint this room. They know how many gallons of paint it takes to paint this room. And so when someone is awarded, for example, a contract like that, there are certain guidelines and stipulations, okay, a certain price range. Now, when it comes to value for money, then it's up to the ministries to ensure that adequate inspections are done and we get quality work for the money paid.
Well, shifting gears just a bit, government's newly proposed pension plan is headed for public consultation this summer with plans to table the legislation in Parliament when the House of Assembly returns in the fall. The makeup of the new pension regime has been in the creation process for more than a decade, beginning in 2012 under the then Christie administration. Now, with some major changes to a structure once primarily benefiting public servants, our Janelle Longley reports.
Under the new contributory pension plan proposed by government, the biggest change will be that public servants, once accustomed to simply receiving their pension upon retirement, will now have to contribute to the fund at a rate of 3% of their pensionable salary monthly, while government contributes 5% of the same. According to Finance Minister Michael Halkitis, this clause alone led to the more than decade delay in the finalization of the plan.
You don't want to start something where you have people who have already vested and now you're asking them to make a payment. And so we had a lot of back and forth.
But why the switch? According to the CBPP framework, it costs too much. The government estimates it owes about $3 billion in pension promises to date, with an expected rise to $4.1 billion by 2032, building since 2012.
Because back then, I think the outstanding obligation might have been just over $1 billion.
The framework also stated that government corporations also make pension decisions, leaving them owing millions in pensions. And if they struggle financially, taxpayers may end up having to assist in covering these costs. And this also makes it harder or more expensive for government to borrow money for roads, schools, healthcare, and other projects. In the new framework, a board will also be established to oversee the low-risk investment of pension funds and their possible returns. The framework suggests it will be made up of a chairperson, a public officer appointed by the minister, 2 deputy chairs, the financial secretary, and the permanent secretary of the ministry responsible for public service. Union representatives appointed by the minister, professional members, a registered attorney, public accountant, an actuary, business professional with human resource management. Up to 3 additional members can be appointed by the minister with experience in industry, commerce, finance, law, or administration. Chairpersons and union reps can serve a 3-year term, only eligible once for an additional 3 years. Professional and additional members serve 2 years, only eligible for renewal once for an additional 2 years. If an employee wants to transfer to the new contributory plan, the employee's contributions up to that point will be placed into a savings account and begin receiving interest from the new contributory plan. However, if there are certain restrictions that existed under the old structure for the employee to receive that money, they may still apply. Government will also not pay out to employees that switch over immediately. There is a 3 to 5 year wait time. New employees enrolled under the contributory plan are subject to a proposed retirement age of 67, while those that transfer from the existing public pension plan are allowed to maintain the retirement age of 65. Government has consulted with stakeholders before presenting its white paper during the 2026 budget communication. It still goes out for public consultation when the House breaks for summer in July.
And we'll take in all of the comments, or 60-day, then we take in the comments, see if, what we want to adopt, incorporate it into the legislation, and then take it to Parliament.
Janelle Longley, Eyewitness News.
Well, frustration growing outside the Bahamas Public Services Union building in Freeport on Thursday evening as members demanded answers over alleged failures to provide biannual financial reports since 2019 and an alleged misappropriation of funds. Northern Region Vice President Latoya Cartwright-Jones says members have been repeatedly reaching out to Union President Kingsley Ferguson for months, but claim their concerns have gone unanswered.
When we say misappropriation of funds, we are simply asking him to bring receipts as to what was spent. We are asking him to show why all of the payments for the NIB is still outstanding. We're asking him to show why our buildings still don't have insurance. At this point, I'm in full support with the membership because they need answers and they need it now. No man is an island. And he, unfortunately, the unilateral decisions he's making by his sole self is unconstitutional, and we will not stand for it any longer.
Well, Jones is also calling on the Department of Labor to intervene, saying members have given Union President Kingsley Ferguson 7 good days to respond to their concerns. She warned that if no response is received, the union's constitution will take its course.
We want Labor to do their jobs too. We need them to be accountable as well. They're calling for audits that was outstanding from 2019. Follow the books. Tell me what it's supposed to be. Help us to remain accountable to the people. He can be suspended through a general meeting. He can be terminated. He could be discharged, and he can be held accountable. So there are always steps in the Constitution of Governance, and we intend to follow them and ensure that we have a lawyer on the team.
Some interesting news there, but to stay up to date with all of that, follow the Eyewitness News WhatsApp channel by scanning the QR code on your screen or by visiting our social media pages for a direct link. And while you're there, don't forget to follow Eyewitness News on Instagram and Facebook. And also, if you've got a news tip or if you've seen news in the making, call the Eye on News hotline at 397-6397. We also invite you to send your letters to the editor for publication on all of our social media platforms at eyewitnessnewsbahamas@gmail.com. And if you're watching on our Facebook or YouTube page this evening, share your thoughts about today's stories in the comment section below. We want to hear from you. We are just getting started in the Eyewitness News tonight, but when we come back, experts from around the region are talking about the upcoming hurricane season, which starts Monday. We've got that story coming up. And later, Foam is celebrating 14 years of support to the community. We've got more on that, but here's this break.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and everybody watching from Nassau. Tonight, we welcome a star. So please join me in welcoming the barbecue rap star, star of the show!
KFC, it's finger licking good.
Hey, psst, it's me, Cyndi Lauper.
Cyndi Lauper, Saturday, June 20th at Atlantis, Bahamas. Cyndi Lauper. Tickets on sale now at atlantislive.com.
And it's gonna be a party, a big celebration.
Don't miss Cyndi Lauper live.
For us at the Myers Group of restaurants, we found that we have a pretty large portion of our employment pool that had difficulty getting bank accounts.
The issue we had previously was just getting cash, getting funds on the island. And with only one working ATM, the idea of the sand dollar, just it being digital, and everybody has a smartphone nowadays, it actually worked into our favor.
The sand dollar was like a godsend because it allowed us to add it to our payroll system, which means we're able to send their money to the sand dollar wallet.
It's still a bank transfer because you get an account number. So from the employer side of things, all I have to do is send your funds just as usual.
It opens up our pool for us to be able to hire some of the people that we couldn't hire before because they were unable to open bank accounts. This has been a really good solution.
5 cars, catch the keys, don't blink, take these. Island Luck is giving away 5 brand new cars. Earn 10 reward points for a chance to enter and win. Enter weekly from Monday 12 a.m. to Sunday 2 p.m. Winners are announced Sundays at 3 p.m. on 103.5 The Beat and Island Luck Socials. 5 cars, 5 weeks. The more you play, the better your chances. Visit islandluck.com for more information. Catch the keys only at Island Luck.
Must be 18 and over. Island Luck reminds you that it's only a game, so please game responsibly.
This segment of Eyewitness News is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Welcome back to Eyewitness News. We're keeping an eye on prices at the pump. Today you can get the cheapest for gas at Rubis at $6.65. Shell is around $6.85. Esso $6.95. You're watching Eyewitness News. Well, the Davis-Cooper administration's 2026-2027 budget communication contained no major surprises. That's according to a financial expert who is cautioning against what he describes as a, quote, acting like we've arrived attitude, pointing to ongoing structural, fiscal, and development challenges, that is, facing the country. Fidelity Bank Chief Executive Officer Gowan Bo says while the budget reflects progress in several key areas, there is still much work to be done to strengthen the nation's long-term economic stability and development outlook.
There's some elements of what I would call victory lap in terms of touting things that had happened in the past, and, if you will, given a general impression that the country is what I'm going to call in a favorable state. I think we should look at it for what it is. The country is moving in a progressive manner. It is seeing improvement in GDP. It is seeing improvements in its fiscal performance, although there are headwinds and still legacy balances that are outstanding. And we have to just be very, very careful that the government is yet in a position to grant significant tax concessions, because we are still in a circumstance where we owe more than $12 billion in debt.
Well, he also noted that while the outlook remains stable, the Bahamas is still below investment grade status and must continue exercising strong fiscal discipline, but also pointing to what he describes as a missed opportunity in the budget communication, the lack of significant focus on long-term national development planning.
To move forward. And I think the greatest failing in the budget is the absence of any mention of the National Development Plan, which will carry us out for a generation of 25 years, to allow us to appreciate as a citizenry that is not all going to be fixed in 1 year, is not all going to be fixed in one political cycle, and that it is going to be a multi-generational effort. And I think that whilst the budget overall was balanced and it showed that there is still, I'm going to say, tempered response, because in the wider budget, the victory lap was subdued because it started speaking about real elements. But I think missing the National Development Plan was a significant missed opportunity.
With the 2026 Atlantic hurricane season just 2 days away, regional experts in climate change, meteorology, and disaster preparedness gathering for the Caribbean Climate Outlook Forum. The meeting is focused on forecasting the upcoming hurricane season while also strengthening regional readiness across vulnerable island nations. In remarks delivered by Minister of Transport Leon Lundy, the importance of early preparation and coordinated response was underscored as he urged stakeholders to remain vigilant and proactive ahead of the approaching season.
Timely and reliable information can determine whether people are exposed to danger or equipped to protect themselves. That is why meteorological and climate services must be understood as essential public safety infrastructure. The observations, models, forecasts, outlooks, and warnings produced by our experts are part of that protection of our people and the stability of our economies. The purpose of this forum is therefore clear and urgent. It is to strengthen the information, coordination, and preparedness upon which Caribbean governments, institutions, businesses, and citizens depend as we approach this wet and hurricane season.
The Bahamas is no stranger to hurricanes, having faced repeated storms over the years that have tested the nation's resilience and preparedness. Minister Lundy maintained the country's commitment to actively participating in regional conversations on hurricane preparedness.
Meteorological services, supporting preparedness, advancing regional cooperation, and ensuring that science is translated into meaningful public value. The public does not experience our forecasts as charts, models, or technical supports. They experience them as time to prepare, time to move to safety, time to secure a vessel, time to protect a business, and time to safeguard their families. That is the human purpose behind the technical work conducted here.
Again, the hurricane season starts on Monday, June 1st. Well, the fourth Caliph conference coming to a close today after 3 days of discussions between international aviation stakeholders who dissected pressing legal and regulatory challenges within the aviation industry. Our Danielle Dean has more in this report.
The fourth Civil Aviation Legal Advisors Forum, which began Wednesday, May 27th, concluded today with the signing of an agreement between Minister of Energy, Utilities and Aviation, JoBeth Colby-Davis, the Civil Aviation Authority Bahamas, and the International Civil Aviation Organization. The agreement approved amendments to the Convention on International Civil Aviation, specifically the increase of ICAO council members from 36 to 40 states, and the Air Navigation Commission's membership from 19 to 21.
It's important for us to continue to build these strong networks because as we continue to strengthen our aviation infrastructure, our partnerships with airlines, with various leaders in the aviation sector, it helps us to continue to grow. And for the economy, that's great, but also for our tourism product, that's even more better. So
the week welcomed discussions on emerging litigation trends and the future of international air transport. ICAO Secretary General Juan Carlos Salazar Gomez emphasized the importance of ensuring that international legal and regulatory structures remain capable of supporting innovation, sustainability, and inclusive growth for countries like the Bahamas.
Another key theme through CALA 4 was the evolving role of the aviation legal advisor. The Council's roundtable provided particularly insightful reflections on the realities of advising under pressure, balancing legal rigor with operational and political considerations, and navigating increasingly complex institutional environments.
Colby-Davis, who recently took aviation under her wing through an amended cabinet portfolio, says her ministry has already started taking steps toward improving the industry.
We've already started addressing some of the safety concerns, making sure that we have all of our protocols in place for when we are having flights land in our country and make sure we have the safety protocols in place. And I would understand a little bit of that because under my previous portfolio of transport, I worked closely with the team at aviation to make sure that we are addressing the concerns and the standards placed by ICAO and make sure that our airlifts are following those protocols so that we can invite more persons to land in our country. And so I think we're heading well on our way to continue improving that sector. And this week has been a good start.
Danielle Dean, Eyewitness News.
Well, on to some heartwarming news. Families of All Murdered Victims Foundation, better known as FOAM, founded by Candy Gibson, is marking 14 years of support to the community. The decision to start the nonprofit organization followed the tragic death of Gibson's brother back in 2011 and subsequent challenges to her family and nephews left behind. And now, 14 years later, she says she's grateful that she was able to turn that pain into power. Now, while the official 14th anniversary is marked on June 1st, Gibson will be commemorating the anniversary on May 31st with a special church service and celebration expected to include guest speakers and performing artists.
So we're going to offer persons, we're going to recognize certain persons who would have been with us so long, like our founding members, our volunteers, and other persons would be recognized. So we're asking the public, if we have been a blessing to you, or you have been a blessing to us, please come on down. The church services is going to be held on Sunday at Resurrection Power Kingdom Ministries, and that's in the Beauty Rama building on Robertson Road, and we start at 11 a.m. So our dishes is going, we're going to go old school, old time religion. So we're gonna have corned beef and rice, steamed corn. We're gonna have steamed tuna and rice. We're gonna have conch salad, tamarind sauce. We're gonna have coconut tart, pineapple tart. Man, look, we're gonna have special. We're gonna have the works. So please come on down, and we want to thank the public. We want to thank the public and the many others who supported us during our as we celebrate 14 years.
Well, Gibson, through FOAM and her partners, have been able to help thousands of families across the length and breadth of the Bahamas. And she says never did she imagine that opening her doors to a few persons back then would create the community pillar today.
I'm a living testimony that God is real. God is real. So I want to admonish person to continue putting God first in the midst of pain, strife, struggle, and tragedies. Continue putting God first. The victims is not just the one on the ground, but it's the families left behind, mainly the children. So I want to say I give God all the honor, glory, and praises that we was able to accomplish this big, giant milestone in our country.
Well, on behalf of the entire Eyewitness News team, we'd like to say congratulations to Candy Gibson and FOAM. What's still to come tonight, one local attorney is hoping to equip you with keys to owning your own home. But first, here's a check on tonight's weather forecast.
Five cars, catch the keys, don't blink, take these.
Island Luck is giving away 5 brand new cars. Earn 10 reward points for a chance to enter and win. Enter weekly from Monday 12 a.m. to Sunday 2 p.m. Winners are announced Sundays at 3 p.m. on 103.5 The Beat and Island Luck Socials. 5 cars, 5 weeks. The more you play, the better your chances. Visit islandluck.com for more information. Catch the keys only at Island Luck.
Must be 18 and over. Island Luck reminds you that it's only a game, so please game responsibly.
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods. Taste the difference.
You're watching Eyewitness News.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, amid growing concerns regarding rental prices and the struggles on the road to owning your own home, one attorney, Charlie Swain, has embarked on a journey to assist those on the hunt with the tips and tools needed to secure a home. It all goes down on Sunday at 2 p.m. at Crypto Isle.
The event is bringing together real estate professionals as well as homeowners to inspire and encourage young people as well as aspiring homeowners to be prepared for homeownership. Mateus Stewart is going to be the host, and the real estate professionals include Sherelle Storr, who is a realtor, Jamal Mortimer, who is a mortgage officer, as well as Janelle McPhee-Frazier, who's also a loans officer. And then we'll be having Brene McKay, who is a real estate attorney, and Anton Albury, Hannah Baird, and Crystal Hanna are the homeowners who will be on the panel. And the Ministry of Housing will also be there. And the Ministry of Housing will be talking a bit about the initiatives that they have available for persons, from the rent to own program to Ministry of Housing government homes.
Well, Swain says the idea came to her following the response to a series she started on TikTok.
I was talking a bit about my experience with purchasing property here in the Bahamas, and the questions just started to come in. And I realized that young persons actually don't have access to the information that they need when they're interested in actually purchasing property. As a result, I decided to host this event with industry professionals to give young persons the answers that they need so that they can be well prepared to purchase their first home or first property. Tickets are on sale now and they're selling fast. They are $60 and people can purchase their tickets at key.tikkets.com, or they can visit any one of my social media platforms, Shars Mind, SCHARSMIND.
All right, some good work there. Well, the Bahamas Breastfeeding Association hosting another educational seminar this week geared toward expecting mothers and nurses with a focus on providing essential information about breastfeeding and promoting its importance. The session covered the health benefits of breastfeeding for both mothers and babies, while also offering guidance and support to help women feel more confident throughout their breastfeeding journey. The association president, Trinika McCarty, says the initiative is part of their continued effort to educate the public, encourage healthier families, and ensure new and expecting mothers have access to the resources they need.
Have the knowledge, the skills, so they could do better. So we would be there to help them in this fight, because some women are going through different things. Some saying their milk supply is low. Some saying they got to go back to work. They don't know what to do. They got to breast, I call it combo feeding, giving some breasts while they home and then giving formula when they go to work. They don't have to do that. If they are trained to do it properly, they can just give their baby the human milk, and that's all the baby will get. You pump, store, refrigerate, freeze, and you then you would thaw it and have it given to the baby via cup. That's what we encourage: cup feeding, not nipple feeding or bottle feeding. We encourage breastfeeding direct from the breast or cup feeding.
All right, well, still to come in Eyewitness News, the biggest stories from sports. We'll tell you all about it right after this break.
Five cars, catch the keys, don't blink, take these.
Island Luck is giving away 5 brand new cars. Earn 10 reward points for a chance to enter and win. Enter weekly from Monday 12 a.m. to Sunday 2 p.m. Winners are announced Sundays at 3 p.m. on 103.5 The Beat and Island Luck Socials. 5 cars, 5 weeks. The more you play, the better your chances. Visit islandluck.com for more information. Catch the keys only at Island Luck.
Must be 18 and over. Island Luck reminds you that it's only a game, so please game responsibly.
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods, taste the difference.
Edenwell has expanded their testing menu. We now offer blood work, drug screening, and so much more. Our hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., located on 11 Madera Street. We are here for all of your laboratory needs, with fast and reliable lab work done by our friendly and knowledgeable staff. Let us help you take the needed steps to stay in the know about your health. Let's keep working towards a healthier you. Stay eating well.
5 cars, catch the keys, don't blink, take these.
Island Luck is giving away 5 brand new cars. Earn 10 reward points for a chance to enter and win. Enter weekly from Monday 12 a.m. to Sunday 2 p.m. Winners are announced Sundays at 3 p.m. on 103.5 The Beat and Island Luck Socials. 5 cars, 5 weeks. The more you play, the better your chances. Visit islandluck.com for more information. Catch the keys only at Island Luck.
Must be 18 and over. Island Luck reminds you that it's only a game.
Eyewitness Sports is brought to you by 103.5 The Beat.
Welcome to another edition of Eyewitness Sports. I'm Laurencia Smith. Thanks for joining us. Kicking things off in sports tonight, we're on the soccer pitch. 4 teams are now just 1 win away from glory after punching their tickets to the finals of the Samuel P. Haven Junior Soccer National Championship Thursday night over at the Roscoe Davies Soccer Field. In the senior girls division, defending national champions Laifiki International School kept their title defense alive, taking down Queens College 4-1 in a dominant fashion. On the boys' side, Anatole Rogers cruised past North Eleuthera High School with a commanding 5-0 victory to book another championship appearance. Meanwhile, Windsor School got its revenge against defending champion Laifiki, edging the Dragons 2-1 in a thrilling semi-final rematch of last year's title clash. And the C.R. Walker Knights, one of the country's top storied public high school programs, also advancing, keeping their championship hopes much alive. We'll definitely stay tuned to Eyewitness Sports for more highlights from the championships. Now on to the baseball diamond. The Bahamas is stepping onto the international baseball stage once again as the country prepares to host the 2026 Pony Baseball Caribbean and Latin American 14 and Under Championship this June. From June 4th to the 9th, the Andre Rogers Baseball Stadium here in the capital will serve as the host venue for the regional showcase. The Bahamas will welcome 30 of its top young professionals from New Providence, Grand Baham, and Abaco, all competing against all-star teams from across the region, including Aruba, Curacao, Colombia, Ecuador, Nicaragua, Puerto Rico, and Venezuela. The tournament will feature round-robin play with teams battling for spots in the Pony Baseball World Series over in Pennsylvania this August. Pony Baseball and Softball Bahamas President Shane Aubrey says that the tournament is about development, exposure, and national growth of the sport. And President of the Bahamas Baseball Association, Clarence C.J. McKinsey, calling it an honor for the 242 to be selected as the host country for such a prestigious qualifying event.
It's about more than baseball. Many professional players and scholarship athletes started at this level. These are the moments where young athletes gain exposure, build confidence, and begin to see what is possible for the future.
Hosting a regional championship of this magnitude requires tremendous commitment, planning, and sacrifice, and we commend you for your dedication to the development of youth baseball in our region.
Well, that's a quick look at sports at this hour. I'm Laurencia Smith. Stay tuned for more news on the other side of the break.
help can go even further. Be an everyday superhero. Donate to Hands for Hunger.
So you want a space, but not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
You're watching Eyewitness News.
Well, that wraps up news for this Friday evening. Up next, though, a look at all of this week's biggest stories that's coming up and beyond the headlines with Shanique Miller. That starts right after this. But it's certainly been a pleasure having you in our company tonight. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Devontae Hanna saying good night, be safe, and have an even better weekend.
We all know there are ways we can help. Your help can go even further. Be an everyday superhero. Donate to Hands for Hunger.
So you want a space, but not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space? The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Good. Well, yes, he is, but those aren't my words tonight. Those are the words on a social media post of Finance Minister Michael Halkitis as calls for his resignation get louder. Also tonight, a father and his 12-year-old son in court for the shooting of the man's 8-year-old son. Also ahead, new reform is coming for the aviation industry and much, much more, including a tribute to Rupert Roberts. This is Beyond the Headlines, Week in Review Fridays. Good evening, I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, tonight there is mounting political questions and pressure surrounding Finance Minister Michael Halkitis and his past association with a company allegedly linked to Jonathan Eric Gardner. The Free National Movement and the Coalition of Independents are pressing for answers and accountability. Halkitis insists his role with top-notch builders was limited and denies any improper relationship with Gardner. But the controversy is fueling renewed debate over transparency in political associations and public trust at the highest levels of government. Joining me this evening to speak about that is F&M Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands. Dr. Sands, good evening to you. It's good to have you here on Beyond the Headlines. Thank you for being here, sir.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Dr. Sands, do you believe the Prime Minister should jump on this immediately and speak to the Bahamian people about Michael Halkitis' relationship with Eric Gardner or with a company that Gardner has affiliation with or ownership of, and he may have played a key role in?
Absolutely. I think the fact that the government and the PLP have circled the wagon and basically tried to suggest that there's nothing here, folks, keep moving, is so dismissive and demonstrates such contempt for the Bahamian people that it has gone beyond the ridiculous now to the sublime. Here you have a convicted felon who is now once again in custody in the Southern District of New York, said to be a major narco trafficker. And one of the companies of which he was the beneficial owner turns out to have been directed and headed by the president was for the periods 2019, 2020, and 2021, according to the records from the registry, headed by somebody who now sits as the Minister of Finance. The government of the Bahamas had been doing business with an alleged narco trafficker. And one of the cabinet ministers worked not in a subservient position, but in arguably the number 2 position in that company. The president is second only to the CEO. Mm-hmm. So it is very difficult for us to believe that this was, just providing professional services and I really didn't know, and so on and so forth. There's so much that needs to be explained, and it needs to be explained by no less than the Prime Minister himself.
Yes.
But now, even with an explanation, the minister should resign.
Yes, you're standing on, and when I say you, the Free National Movement is standing behind its calls for Halkitis' resignation.
Yes. And, the Westminster system demands that somebody as in such a sensitive position in government, this brings odium, this brings shame, this brings unnecessary scrutiny to the government of the Bahamas and by extension the people of the Bahamas. Whether he did anything wrong or not, it is the appearance that is unacceptable. It's the appearance of impropriety.
I wanted to ask you what message you think this sends to Bahamians who are very much now intrigued and looking at transparency, accountability, and wanting their government to be accountable to them and not be caught up in scandals. What message does this send? Even as you said, if he did nothing wrong, as he has gone on record and saying he simply provided a service of setting up this business and putting the proper frameworks in place, but to be connected and not saying much more to explain to the Bahamian people, what message does it send?
This administration is basically saying to the Bahamian people, whatever buck up goes. They tried to appoint somebody who was disqualified from serving as the vice president of the Senate. No big deal. They have appointed 2 persons to ministerial posts that may or may not qualify. But now this is perhaps the biggest insult to the Bahamian people, to say that somebody who served as the president of a company owned by a confirmed narco trafficker, and that is not a problem for this administration. Just keep walking, folks. It's no big deal. What they're basically saying is, Bahamians, we could care less what you think, and we could care less about the reputation of this country.
Was a legitimate one from the Free National Movement yesterday, stating just what you repeated just now, is that Halkitis did serve as president and I believe director in this top-notch builders previously for a short stint, that he did serve as that. Does the opposition have evidence to prove what it's saying? And I know you called dates a moment ago, but do you have hard evidence to say, listen, wait a minute, because he did tell us, he did tell the public, you can go to the Registrar General, you would see that there is nothing proving that he served as president, but does the opposition have this in their possession?
I'm happy to share them with you immediately, even before you get off here.
Oh, very interesting. The government has defended him. His words today were simply on a social media post, God is good. How long is the opposition willing to sit and wait and allow this to play out without it coming to head, without some official statement being made, without the Prime Minister and or the Minister of Finance speaking to it?
Well, you know, this is an instance where the reputation of the Bahamas is at stake. And let's be clear, this is not personal. But this is an instance where, this has not been disclosed. This rises to a level which is untenable. You have the Minister of Finance in the government of the Bahamas who acted as the president of a company owned by a narco transporter.
And what about the fact that he is standing by his position of saying he never served as president?
When you see the documents that I send to you in the next few minutes, then the Registrar General of the Bahamas must have inaccurate documents.
Dr. Sands, do you believe this controversy raises broader concerns about transparency and accountability and standards for individuals in public office?
I think that standards seem to only apply to other organizations and certainly not to the Progressive Liberal Party and to this administration. Because certainly, whatever buck up goes with this administration. I'm sharing with you now, Shanique, filed documents which come from the Registrar General's Office of the Bahamas from 2019, 2020, and 2021.
I see them coming in.
And each of those documents show that the president of the company, at the top of the page, president and director, Michael Halkitis. And you see the seal and the signature.
In fact, let me look right now as we speak.
So the last one is the Registrar General's Department, October 15, 2021.
Yes.
And, you know, it certainly says, unless this is...
Unless these documents are fraudulent.
Unless they're fraudulent, and we don't have any reason to believe, since they were obtained from the Registrar General's office, that the president and director of Top Notch Builders Limited, the president and director was one Michael Halkitis.
Oh, wow. Well, sir, as they say, you have the receipts for what you say, what you're saying right now this evening. You all can kind of make out on this angle of where my phone is. In fact, it does say that. Yep. Providing other certified financial analysts and president and director, Top Notch Builders, Michael Halkitis. Halkitis say, though, this suggests in no which way that he was involved in any other aspects of any business that the CEO would or may not have been involved with. Do you buy that? And do you think that the opposition is just trying to jump on something to say, gotcha, now work your way out of this?
And I think it's very important for us to understand that this is very much about optics, and this is about proprietary, what is appropriate in our system of governance. People have been asked to resign for less. You may recall that you're talking to somebody who resigned a ministerial post
for a dog
back in 2020.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with a dog.
Oh,
it had to do with swabs during the COVID pandemic. Okay. You had another cabinet minister that resigned over local government elections. You had Brent Simmons that resigned at another time. Peter Turnquest resigned. I could go on and on and on. And so the people of the Bahamas, the government of the Bahamas, ought not be subjected to undue scrutiny because of a personal issue or challenge. The honorable thing to do is to step aside. There's no saying that you did anything wrong, or you did anything illegal, or you did anything immoral.
You're saying it's the appearance of.
This does not pass the sniff test.
Dr.
And
Dwayne.
he should do the honorable thing and resign.
There you have it. Calls continuing and mounting. The pressure is on this administration from the Free National Movement and other political organizations for the Minister of Finance, Michael Halkitis, to resign, and not necessarily for any other further explanation to be had, but for his resignation. Dr. Dwayne Sands, the chairman of the Free National Movement, joining me here at the top of tonight's show. Thank you very much, Dr. Sands.
Thank you, Shanique.
Yes,
Take
sir.
care.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
thank you. Thank you very much. This is Beyond the Headlines, starting out quite hot tonight. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, the Hot Topics panel will address that very thing. I tell you, the F&M chairman was very, very on point, not flinching in what his thoughts are and what should happen in this matter. And so we're going to get some views from the Hot Topics panel right after the break. Stay close.
Hey, it's your boy Charlie Bahama here at Superwash, Superwash's newest spokesmodel, and I'm here to tell you about Superwash's large capacity washers and dryers for all your big loads.
I know I see that Charlie Banana coming here just now.
Luckily, it's also big enough for me to hide it.
I thought he was right over here where these large capacity washer and dryers is. They're big enough now to handle your big loads, you know. Yeah, like your comfort on your blanket. But just look at us. Somebody forget to turn on the dryer. Oh, stop! You hear something? Yeah, that's the sound of clean. Superwash washes your presses you and entertains them 24/7.
5 cars, catch the keys, don't blink, take these.
Island Luck is giving away 5 brand new cars. Earn 10 reward points for a chance to enter and win. Enter weekly from Monday 12 a.m. to Sunday 2 p.m. Winners are announced Sundays at 3 p.m. on 103.5 The Beat and Island Luck Socials. 5 cars, 5 weeks. The more you play, the better your chances. Visit islandluck.com for more information. Catch the keys only at Island Luck.
Must be 18 and over. Island Luck reminds you that it's only a game, so please game responsibly.
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods. Taste the difference.
Edenwell has expanded their testing menu. We now offer blood work, drug screening, and so much more. Our hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., located on 11 Madeira Street. We are here for all of your laboratory needs. With fast and reliable lab work done by our friendly and knowledgeable staff, let us help you take the needed steps to stay in the know about your health. Let's keep working towards a healthier you. Stay Eden well.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Headlines. It's good to have you all tuned in this evening. A firm position by the Free National Movement that Michael Halkitis must resign. Well, we're going to bring in now the Hot Topics panel and get their views on this. It's a very serious matter. You all heard at the top of tonight's show, the chairman of the Free National Movement, Dwayne Saz, says this sends a bad message to every Bahamian. It paints the Bahamas in a poor light internationally, and it's something that the nation doesn't need right now. Well, welcome to Beyond the Headlines, Leslie Miller and Ellington Ferguson. Gentlemen, good evening to each of you. It's good to have you both here.
Good evening, Shani. Good evening, Bahamas.
Leslie, good evening. How are you?
Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening, Bahamas.
Yes, Leslie and Ellington, certainly it's right out of the gate, this administration has had to deal with something so damning. You heard just moments ago the Free National Movement speaking on one of the administration's, I guess, most brilliant minds, yes. Someone who people yes. think people have high regard for, including you, Leslie, which is Michael Halkitis. But now he finds himself on the defense or defensive, and in that he has to get on top of this and explain this. You all saw live as he spoke to me. Dr. Sands forwarded to me documents, official documents from the Registrar General stating that Michael Halkitis served as president and director of a construction company and provided other services, but served in those key positions of a construction company owned by someone who is now in U.S. custody under the suspicion of drug trafficking. Gentlemen, jump in.
Yeah, go ahead, Figgy. Yeah.
Michael Halkitis, this is unfortunate, very unfortunate situation. Both Mr. Michael Halkitis and the Prime Minister have got to get ahead of this and kind of bring this to head and bring whatever explanation there are to the Bahamian public. Both of them are public servants. The Progressive Liberal Party won the general election. The Bahamian people placed tremendous confidence in them to give them a second opportunity. Mm-hmm. Michael Halkitis serves at the pleasure of the Prime Minister. And so, yes, we need to get to the bottom of this, and so we can put this behind us, like you rightfully stated. This is at the beginning of the administration.
You know, Michael Halkitis was first elected in 2002 when a cadre of young men and women from all aspects, all areas of our country, was elected. He served under Right Honorable Perry Christie as Minister of Finance, James Smith, Mr. Simon Wilson, so was Mrs. Ruth Miller, God bless her. And we always thought of him as a very, very brilliant and insightful young man that had a valuable contribution to make for and on behalf of many people. During his years in Parliament, along with others, including myself, no one has ever raised a question concerning his capability or his integrity. He has represented Bahamas in international affairs throughout this hemisphere and around the world as a man who is well versed in the field of finance. I believe what might have happened in a situation like this, if you sign a document as a consultant, depending on the members who were present, they might have had you there as a president. That's in fact just a page that has on it who signed and what their position is supposed to be. If Mr. Halkida said that he was not the president, I will have to take his word that he was not the president.
How do you explain the documents that I just received?
If the procedure itself, you know what I mean, I have several companies that I run, and I just go sign as the VP or the president. It's a regular thing that one would just do. Mm-hmm. And you don't think nothing of it because you don't ever feel that something's going to come unbelonging, you know, or in a situation like this, mm-hmm. where you have to answer those tough questions as to whether you are or not. But I believe his entire life in the public forum has been one of distinction, one of trustworthiness by the many people, certainly by former prime ministers. And I don't believe that Mr. Alcides had anything whatsoever to do with the internal workings of that company. He was there as a consultant in his capacity, as being a well-learned man in finance. He was doing his job, and I think it was just one of those situations where his name was placed in a situation with being a director of the company, which he probably was, with also assisting them with turning in the proper documents on an annual basis to satisfy the requirements as enshrined in those documents.
Should he be made to resign? Dwayne San say, listen, we ain't trying to say he did nothing, you know. In fact, he may not have even done anything, but just the optics of it all, the way it looks, and the fact that he said he didn't serve as president, and when indeed he might have, or even provided services for such individual, should he be made to resign because of this?
I think, Shanique, we need to look at the document. I would love to, like I said a while ago, I would love to hear the Prime Minister and Michael Alcides' response to the document that Dr. Dwayne Sands, the chairman of the Free National Movement, presented. I would love to hear both their response to that document. We heard Honorable Michael Alcides stated that he served only as consultant and director. And we heard him state the responsibilities, what he did to help them get their documents in line and make sure that the company was in good order with the government and other institutions. So I would love to hear him speak to that document that Dr. Dwayne Sands produced, and then we take it from there.
Yes. I don't think it's necessary for Mike Alcides to resign as our Minister of Finance. He has the expertise, he has the ability, and no one has questioned his integrity in his entire life. In public life. He's been there, like I said, from 2002. It's never been questioned. It's unfortunate that, you know, being a man of his caliber in the field that he's in, that somebody would be associated with someone who's found themselves on the wrong side of the law. But that's a company that was owned or jointly owned by the man in question and others. And I noticed that when that incident happened, the entire board of directors resigned. You know, which is the right thing to do. They resigned from the company. Mm-hmm. So did the minister before he became the minister just last week. I don't see no reason for his resignation. The company is in dire need of persons of his caliber in these difficult times that we're going through financially, when the world is at war, when the price of living is so high in the Bahamas, with the program that he presented to Bahamian people as one that could assist us and drive us further and take the burdens off the backs of the ordinary average Bahamian.
Correction, you said so did the minister. No, Halkitis did not resign last week before he became a minister. He stated he resigned in 2021.
You're right.
Okay,
You're right.
so he had no association with that company for the last several years. That's even
he was not
makes it more.
Right, he was
Thank
not
you,
a
sir.
minister at that time.
Yeah.
Was he even? He wasn't a member of parliament either.
No.
At that time, so I guess a private citizen doing private work.
Well, prior to that, because he became,
What he was
in the
requested to do.
Senate.
He was in the Senate. He was in the Senate since 2021 to recent.
Right.
Yes.
Right. He
Since
resigned all position. Yes.
Yes, since
We
2021.
need his expertise.
Since 2021 to recent, he served in the Senate, but he also said that he resigned from the
Prior to
company
serving
in
in the Senate,
2021,
yes.
prior to his Senate appointment.
Right.
Okay, great. Thank you all for putting that out there and sorting that out.
But you know, politics being politics, that's the nature of the game.
Of course.
You know, they will come after you and you have to
Absolutely,
be...
and questions must be asked
Especially
and
with your
answered.
family
And
involved,
so-
it's rough.
And so, Mr. Halkitis, Michael Halkitis, yes, God is good all the time. But, sir, that should not be your only response. Do not take this lightly. Come out and address the Bahamian people. You have said you have nothing to hide. And you know, Leslie has spoken highly of your track record and your character traits and all the rest of it. So put that all out there. Speak to the Bahamian people, but not just with little quotes and whatnot. No, put yourself out there. You've built a reputation in this nation. And so many people stand behind that and support you on your reputation that you've built. And so come and speak to the people, put it out there, and so that we all can move forward.
But I thought in an interview on Tuesday
Yeah.
in the Prime Minister's office when they had this press conference, that the press was there and they asked him these questions, and he answered them forthrightly, and he answered them in a manner that was transparent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know what else he can do. People who know Michael Keatis' record in public life speak for itself.
And
He has an unblemished record in public life.
And Leslie, and you're
Unblemished.
absolutely right. Now, the one thing is, he did say you can go to the Registrar General office and you yourself can look and see, and you will never see him appearing as the president or anything. And we saw that, and he is. So also I'm saying,
That needs to be corrected.
come and speak for yourself, and let's move forward. Let's move forward, because the majority think very highly of you, and so absolutely. But you know, let's just do that, and we will stay here on Beyond the Headlines. Continue to follow this and see exactly how this develops. Meanwhile, gentlemen, here's something that took place right under our noses yesterday, and we didn't pay much attention to it because it happened in Grand Bahama. Members of several unions, led by members of the BPSU, held a major protest in Grand Bahama. They were joined by a number of unions, Leslie, of which we have discussed just before we came on this segment, several other unions, and they all joined to protest against President Kingsley Ferguson. Now, that was quite surprising because, and I know much of the protest sounded along the lines of Ferguson got to go.
Fergie got to go.
Fergie got to go. Fergie got to go. Gentlemen, I know you both have followed this. We, of course, don't have a team there in Grand Bahama. I know we have had something in the news earlier. But your thoughts on this? This is some key unions who teamed up with the Bahamas Public Services Union, but several other unions. Not quite sure how Kingsley affects those other unions, but they came together to have a louder voice, obviously.
Well, you know, Shanique, a lot of them are under certain umbrellas. And so
Yeah.
they normally work together for things like this. As a matter of fact, you remember, I think it was last year when the unions, the teachers union and all of those were having some issue with the government as relates to the timing of getting their money, and they took to the streets and they pulled several of those other unions and they were threatening mass strikes. So it's unfortunate now that the wheels are turned on the union themselves.
Yeah,
Not sure
the president
exactly what all of the deals is, but I hope they can really iron these things out, because here it is, you're the bargaining agent, and the very things that are even worse than the things that you normally are protesting and having strikes to the government over pay or delayed negotiations. Here it is, the union is being accused of mishandling and misappropriation and all of that type of stuff. That is not good for the union. That is not good for unionism in the country. And hopefully we can get to the bottom of this, get this cleared out, and everything get.
You know, what is so damning about this is the fact that members of Mr. Ferguson's own union, along with every other major union in the country,
they led it because the area vice president led.
With the union, the Public Teachers Union. But every other union is out to tell him that you need to give an account. They said he hasn't given an account with the finances of the unions since 2019. That vehicles were supposed to be purchased. They were never purchased. NIB is delinquent. And all of these unions now want to know what you did with our money. And they said he hasn't called a meeting. And he's appointing people to committees and what have you without any regard for the leadership on those other entities. Mr. Ferguson, you got to step to the plate and answer the question, man.
It's surprising to hear that, though, because Kingsley Ferguson always presented himself as quite meticulous, someone who was very upstanding, someone who the people who elected him can put their trust in. And now to see this again, that it was led by the area vice president. That's the person who did the interview on the local TV station there that I saw. That she spoke and they were very, very.
And the others also spoke heavily against him.
They did. And so, Kingsley Ferguson, you obviously must come and speak. Of course, this show made attempts to reach out to Kingsley Ferguson before this segment. My attempts were unsuccessful. And so we will continue to follow that. Meanwhile, a reported accidental shooting that left an 8-year-old boy fighting for his life has now left his father and his brother to feel the brunt of the law. Linton Ritchie Jr. has the story.
8-year-old Duron Saunders, critically injured, has now resulted in both his father and 12-year-old brother being charged. The father and son were brought before the magistrate's court Thursday afternoon after being escorted from crawling out of the back of a police vehicle with shirts covering their heads. Appearing before Magistrate Yule Johnson in court number 1, 40-year-old Dexter Saunders was charged with 1 count of cruelty to a child and 1 count of possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life. Meanwhile, his eldest son, who police alleged discharged the weapon that injured his younger brother, faced a charge of negligently causing grievous harm. The case has sparked debate across social media, with some arguing that a 12-year-old should be held accountable for his actions, while others maintain the incident was a tragic accident and questions whether the child should face criminal charges. Duron was shot on Sunday, suffering injuries above his left eyebrow and to the back of his head, which resulted in him being airlifted, calling for immediate emergency brain surgery. Sources close to the investigation tell Eyewitness News the shooting occurred after the 2 boys allegedly found the firearm while playing in a Bimini hotel room. Following the arraignment, the 12-year-old was granted bail in the amount of $5,000 and ordered to undergo a 6-week psychiatric evaluation. As for the father, Dexter Saunders, was not required to enter a plea. His matter will proceed by way of a voluntary bill of indictment, with his next court appearance scheduled for September 21st, 2026. Linton Ritchie Jr., Eyewitness News.
Well, you all, of course, when we heard that story, we all immediately jumped on how did they even have access to an unlicensed firearm at that. Turns out it belonged to their father, and those boys obviously just came up on it, Leslie and Ellington, just came up on it and decided to fool around with it, and the unfortunate happened.
Shanique, I spoke to that some time ago on this show, that we see all these issues of crime taking place in our country. Family members, you always know, okay? Just how those 2 boys knew and were able to stumble across that gun. Sisters know, brothers know, friends know, mommy does know, big brothers does know. You know what your brother or your friend is into with these illegal ammunition until it harms somebody like that one harmed those 2 boys. And I pray, God, that more of us child advocates get out there and make sure that 10-year-old should 12-year-old should not be charged with that weapon. 2 little boys found the weapon which they should have never found, should have never been there, playing around with it, don't know what the deal is with it. I mean, and it's sad for that 12-year-old man. I mean, the trauma that he's going through, not just going into court, but his brother is injured. That he mistakenly shot his brother. Now he got to go through this agony of going through court. And The father should face the full brunt of the law with all maximum penalty. Number one, the gun is illegal. Number two, you got it lying around somewhere in a hotel room that your two kids can access it. Come on, man. And so whatever the outcome, I think he should fail, whatever the maximum penalty is in this case, because there's no winner, really. This is a whole family of brothers and fathers and sons. Nobody wins in this, unfortunately.
And don't let us forget that he ran away from the scene, eh?
Yes.
He leave the two boys to fend for themselves.
He left them and gone. I mean, it's a coward that's out there. That's why I say in this country, one of our greatest problems is children having children, you know, and don't really care about the kids at all. Because he left those two young kids there. They didn't know that the gun was a real gun. They was just playing with each other.
Or loaded.
And you have a 12-year-old now. As Ferguson said, is so frightened. His whole life now, he didn't know if his brother's going to live or die. His father left them by themselves. The brunt of the law should be placed upon his head. The full brunt of the law. And I hope that he don't get bail probably next week for $6,000, eh? You know the court's good at that. Getting bail, okay? So let's see what happens with this one.
Well, the good news is it seems as though the 12-year-old will be undergoing some psychiatric therapy and sessions, and so that's really, really awesome to hear that. Meanwhile, you all, of course, you know the budget communication was presented by Finance Minister Michael Alkitis on Wednesday. Of course, that budget debate is set to get started quite shortly. Everything must be done through the House and the Senate by the end of June, and so that will happen. But the Nurses Union is now weighing in on the budget and the provisions in the budget for health care. Of course, you know, it's emerged as one of the key areas of focus of this administration. And of course, we will hear from Nurses Union President Muriel Lightbourne after this break. This is Beyond the Headlines, Week in Review Fridays. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods. Taste the difference.
Edenwell has expanded their testing menu. We now offer blood work, drug screening, and so much more. Our hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., located on 11 Madera Street. We are here for all of your laboratory needs, with fast and reliable lab work done by our friendly and knowledgeable staff. Let us help you take the needed steps to stay in the know about your health. Let's keep working towards a healthier you. Stay Eden well.
Before the break, you heard me talk about Nurses Union President Muriel Lightbourne, and her hopes, and what she hopes is materialized in the 2026-2027 budget. You all know by now, we've been talking about it really since Wednesday, that health is a major focus in this 2026-2027 budget. And so, of course, the Nurses Union, who has had its fair share of tumbles with the government as it relates to pay and right sizing, and also getting nurses qualified in various levels and paid and recognized for those things, that she too is paying keen attention. Leslie and Ellington, your thoughts on one, the attention that health and healthcare and public health is getting in this budget, and also the fact that, you know, the Nurses Union is right there saying, listen, we ain't gonna let y'all slip and slide in no which way. These things must happen.
Well, obviously, Shanique, the nurses can see themselves in the budget, and the government has started this whole process of reforming the health sector in their last administration, and they've come full circle into this administration. We see it now in the budget of the things that they promised that they're going to do. And it's we look forward to see the clinics around the country. They talk about the new clinics. They talk about the new hospital. They talk about enhancement of nurses pay, and the training of more nurses, staffing all of those clinics on the Family Island. So they're looking forward to it.
I think it's a good stand that they've taken, with appreciating the fact that the government is putting a lot of focus on health, the same thing as they're doing with education. So both parties has every right to express their views and to see to it that the plans formulated by the government would be fully implemented to the best interests of the Bahamian people. And those who carried out that exercise, which of course are the nurses in the hospital and the doctors and all those places who work for that institution, need to be enumerated properly.
Yeah, absolutely. We absolutely agree and support that, and also support the further enhancement and advancement of public health in the nation. Meanwhile, gentlemen, this week, the nation lost the visionary behind one of the country's largest food store chains. Rupert Roberts has died. We now take a look at the life and legacy of Rupert Roberts. Here is Laurencia Smith.
1965, Rupert Roberts and Super Value have stood by one mission, putting food on Bahamian tables at the best possible price. Today, that legacy is being remembered across the country, following the death of its founder, Rupert Roberts, the man who built one of the Bahamas' largest and most influential food store chains. In a statement, the food store chain president Deborah Simonet confirmed Roberts' passing, describing him as the heart and soul of the company, noting that he remained actively involved in the daily operation up until his death. Earlier this year, Robert was diagnosed with pneumonia and spent several weeks in hospital recuperating.
Shopping at Super Value forever, years and years.
Shopping at least over 50 years. 50 years, from I was about 10 years old.
For a very long time, for as long as I could think, years and years.
Customers across the Bahamas are reacting with gratitude and reflecting, saying the brand became a part of their everyday lives. Many recalling that while they may have complained about the prices, they still return every Sunday to take advantage of the double stamps while feeding their families. For generations, Super Value was more than a grocery store. It was a national institute. Through Robert's leadership, thousands of Bahamians were employed, from entry-level packing boys to long-standing careers, positions that helped shape lives and families.
Food and stuff. My daughter's first job, she started already at Super Value. This same particular store here in Golden Gates.
A lot of people, you know, because you could come here with $20 and you could have like $40, $50 worth of stump.
Growing up back in the day, they used to have like the family pack, the meal, and I think he was all about looking out for the small man.
Online viewers also reflecting on Robert's legacy. One stating, "I got my first job in the 9th grade as a seasonal worker, cashing at Super Value. He interviewed me and it was the funniest interview ever. His legacy will live on forever." And rest in peace, my first job ever was a packing boy at the Cable Beach branch. In 2012, Super Value expanded its footprint with launching the Quality Market, an extension of the Super Value family brand. The company has since grown into a successful chain of 13 supermarkets across the country. The CEO of the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce, Dr. Leo Roll, is among those paying tribute, highlighting Roberts' role in the strength and the local retail sector and his lasting contribution to the Bahamian business and economics.
Well, I think he leaves a lasting impression on the business community. He helps persons to understand what it means to be an entrepreneur, what it means to strive in resilient times.
And just before the budget, both Prime Minister Philip Davis and opposition leader Michael Pintard paid tribute to the businessman in Parliament.
Of the oligarchs of the 60s to become one of the leading business persons in this country. That is in the person of Rupert Roberts.
Absolutely committed to making sure that Bahamian farmers throughout the country had their fair share. You produce it, he was prepared to purchase it.
Consumers say that Mr. Roberts did not just redefine what it is to be a Bahamian entrepreneur, but over the years that he had a hand in feeding thousands of Bahamians. Laurencia Smith, Eyewitness News.
Of course, fond memories for SuperValu, and it still remains that Bahamian staple, and the footprint of SuperValu will not be erased ever in this country. Leslie Ellington, your thoughts, and of course, I just want to extend thoughts and prayers. I've developed also a closer relationship with many of the executive management there, and so thoughts and prayers to you during this time.
My heart goes out to the family of Mr. Rupert Roberts, who's become a giant in the grocery business in this country. SuperValu, an entity that touched and impacted my life early on. I remember coming from Acklands back in 1979. That's one of my first job, the SuperValu on East Street, and then I worked at the SuperValu on Blue Hill Road, and then the one on Mackey Street. I worked at all of them, and it was a wonderful experience for me over the years, working for those institutions. Mr. Roberts have done tremendous. I remember when the city market entity went out of business, he was able to scoop up some of those stores so that Bahamian can have locations that they can go to. And I think that is a legacy that Mr. Roberts have left, how he have helped and worked with the Bahamian community. You would hear him very much vocal when it come to any crisis that we were going through globally. He would speak to the Bahamian people publicly and talk about how he's trying to keep prices down and trying to work with Bahamian people. And so yes, our hearts will forever remember him and the work that he's done in this country.
Rupert Roberts was such a wonderful, wonderful human being. I first met Mr. Roberts about 50 years ago. We formed the Bahamas Light Industries Development Council in 1983. At that time, we were totally dominated by foreign products. To give you an example, the water companies were about to go to business. There was not a dime duty on imported water. You couldn't believe it. There was no duty on water. There was no duty on the container. And when we formed the council, the first person we went to and had a luncheon with was Rupert Roberts. He said, fellas, how could I help? And God bless us that I was elected to Parliament in 1987. And again we went to him. And we initiated programs. And God bless Mr. Paul Adley. We put 100% duty on imported water. And that's how all those water people get where they are today. Because there was no water on anything, including the package. Glenn Rogers was then producing bottles and what have you in the industrial park. They were off Soldier Road. And Blanco was about to go under, Blanco Chemicals. In fact, you may remember that the processing plant there through Centerville went under. Champion Foods and all that. They went under because they couldn't take the pressure anymore. And they moved and went on to Apico. But what used to kill me with him, every time I would go to food store on Sunday, right near my house in Nassau East on Mitten, he would continue to drive his truck. I said, Mr. Roberts, the kind of millions you got, why are you still driving this truck? He said, Leslie, the truck's still running. There's nothing wrong with the truck. Why I won't buy a new truck if I got an old truck that ain't give me no problems?
The mindset of
and
the
he
rich.
drove until his 80s. He was 88. God really bless him and his children. My deepest on all of the local manufacturers in this country. He was the man that assisted us in every single instance when many of us was about to go under. we'll go to him and say, put it to the front, and he will pick the space for you to put your Bahamian product on his shelf free of charge. He didn't even charge us any income from it. We don't have to give him anything at all. You see, you got your shelf space, put your product there, you sell it. And he's a wonderful, wonderful human being. I'm sure
Certainly
any
somebody-
Bahamians like yourself, and God is going to bless him and his family for making a tremendous contribution to our country.
Absolutely.
May his soul rest in peace.
His contributions will live on, obviously beyond him, as they're doing even now. And to his grandson Patrick, to the president of SuperValue, Deborah Simonet, again,
does a wonderful job on our team.
they absolutely do. Again, this show sends its regards to you all. Meanwhile, thank you all so much for tuning in this entire week and for hanging out. We certainly enjoyed having you here. Gentlemen, I thank you both as well for stepping in. You've been here most of the week. Thank you very much. And of course, at the top of the show, to Dr. Dwayne Sands, the chairman of the FNM, thank you as well for joining me this evening. And a huge thank you to all of you once again. I look forward to seeing you right back here on Monday evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a blessed weekend, everyone.
The Verizon Media Group, home of ILTV, Paramount Systems Limited, Eyewitness.